everybody. Kevin Lee Shark here to help you take a look at all the news that I've missed over the last few days. Hi, Babe. Hi, Stephanie. Good to see you here. Hello, everybody. We've been off for a few days, not intentionally. I've very much wanted to broadcast. Hi, Christopher. Hi, Deidre. Hey, Marcy. But I've been able to. I've been very busy, and the TBD Studios, well, as great a place as it is, I have to keep taking it down and putting it up and taking it down and putting it up because people want to come and buy the house in which the TBD Studio is built. One of them, a gentleman who looked at the TBD Studios today, a celebrity, can't tell you who, but kind of cool. This is what Shark does when. How come my mouth isn't? Oh, I have to look more up at the camera for my mouth to move. If I talk down here, it just looks like I'm muttering to myself. This is angry Shark. Oh, he's gone. So what I wanted to do is just catch up on some of the things that I've heard about over the last few days. Been doing quite a bit of many auditions. I just haven't had the time, etc. So anyway, I want to do more of this stuff, but I'm actually not Paul Rudd. This is a celebrity. You know who this guy is. He's not an A-lister. He is an A-minus lister. I'll say that. But I love his work. I might tell you guys about it later. We'll see. Anyway, let's get right to Dr. Fauci and Rand Paul. I haven't seen this whole thing myself. I've only seen little tiny clips of it. And maybe we'll do the Jello Head later. We'll save Jello Head for later in the day. I like Shark. Shark, see, the reason I'm doing Shark is because this way I don't have to set up the green screen in the background. It's enough effort to, right now I'm only working on 2 of 3 monitors. Usually I have one more monitor so I can like Google stuff and fact check while we go. I don't have the 3rd monitor set up because that's sitting out in the garage. We have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He's an A+ in my book at random. Here's how I'm defining A-list celebrities. Okay, he is, because if I said his name, all of you would know who he is. For example, a Paul Rudd, he's A-list because everybody would know who he is, but just about everybody. If you said Frank Sinatra, everybody knows Frank Sinatra. That's an A-lister. If you say a Paul Rudd or a Brad Pitt is an A-lister, but if you said a Paul Rudd, Tom Cruise is an A-lister. But if you said a Paul Rudd, Julia Roberts is an A-lister. If you said a Paul Rudd, I'll go on. So if you said a Paul Rudd or this gentleman or many other people that I could think of that most people know who they are, well, you know what I should do? I should bump everyone on that list. Everyone, Desi Arnaz Jr., everybody on that A- list in my head should become an A-lister. Okay, so this gentleman is now an A-lister, according to the official ranking. Paul Rudd is an A-lister, according to the official rate. Tom Cruise is now an A+ lister. Does that make sense? So an A-lister is, if I'm in a group of 10 people and 8 of them are like, oh yeah, I love that guy. Or an A-lister is if I show you his picture and you're like, oh yeah, oh my God, Bobby Cannavale. Show you that picture and you're like, oh God, I love that guy. No idea who he is if I just say his name, but oh yeah, God, whew. Steve Buscemi. Most of you are gonna know who Steve Buscemi is. I'm a huge Steve Buscemi fan, but a lot of Americans don't know who Steve Buscemi is. But if you say, oh, yeah, the weird guy from Fargo, I love him. That's an A-lister. Anybody that's universally known, like, I don't know. Did I say Julia Roberts already? Who's the guy? Clooney. George Clooney. If I said George Clooney, he's an A+ lister because I think just about everybody knows who he is. Like Jim Carrey, A+ lister. Okay, so we've moved it up now. Jack Black, A-lister. Bobby, the guy in Mr. Robot. Yes. Adam Sandler, A+ lister. Okay, because everybody knows who Adam Sandler is. He is the star. He's a leading man in many, many movies. Barbie Cannavale, not a leading man in a lot of movies. Steve Buscemi, right on that border of leading man. I saw Buscemi. He was in an independent film that aired at the Seattle International Film Festival. I went to see it there, and he spoke afterwards. And it was an independent sort of artsy film, and he played like a photographer, like a paparazzi photographer, if I'm remembering correctly. Something that I enjoyed the movie. This is years and years ago. But he was still sort of big. He'd already done Fargo, Boardwalk Empire. He was either just starting that or in the middle of that. So he's an A-list star. He's not an A+list star. Henry Zubrowski. I don't recognize that name, but let's put it together. For an actor, I'm terrible. I'm terrible at recognizing celebrity names. Like I worked with a celebrity yesterday that I know her. I could not place her name. Now, Kevin Lee Daughter knew who she was right away. The funny thing was, I placed her, but I placed her as the wrong actress. I was like, oh yeah, she's the one from that show, and she was great. Oh, she's fantastic. But then everybody kept calling her something else, and I'm like, I don't think that's her. And then I saw, someone told me, oh, that's her name, and then I looked it up, and I was like, oh God. And the other person I was talking to says, oh yeah, they're the same person. They're exactly the same person. Okay. Here, Henry Cavill. Okay, A-lister. You don't know his name? He's Superman. Okay, so that's an A-lister. Let's go back. Who was it? Henry Zubrowski. Marcy said Henry Zubrowski. We're really making up a lot of ground. Henry Zubrowski. Oh, sure. Henry Zubrowski. Everybody knows Henry Zubrowski. He is Jim Gaffigan. Okay, so we all know him. Henry Zubrowski. Yeah, let's see. Is he A-lister? Or is he, because he's just below, like he's not a Paul Rudd level. Right? But like maybe 2 or 3 or 4, 20 to 40% of people in any conversation is going to know who he is. But then when you show him this picture, when they see this picture, let me show that picture to you guys. When you see, oh God, of course, that guy. The guy who plays Todd in Breaking Bad, who I love. Hold on. He's everywhere now. Breaking Bad, Todd in Breaking Bad. It is Todd Alquist. Okay. Okay, Todd and Jesse Plemons is the actor's name. He's all over the place right now. Breaking Bad was his breakout, no pun intended. But he's absolutely fantastic. But if you say Jesse Plemons, most Americans are not going to recognize that name. But if you go like, oh, it's this guy, then, oh yeah. So Jesse, love you. I'm going to put you into the A- category right now. This is going to get back to me. I'm going to be on set at some point, and someone who knows Jesse's going to be, Jesse was watching your little shark show there. He's kind of upset. Jesse was on a season of Jonathan Banks, also great. Matt Damon, no, Matt Damon is an A-lister, A+ lister. A+ lister. Yeah, no, well, that's just it. If you're a superhero nut, you know exactly who Paul Rudd is. So yeah, that's an A-lister. Jesse hasn't hit A-lister yet. Jesse's just on the cusp of A-lister. I'm saying 20 to 40% would recognize Jesse's name or put a face to that name. Once you see him, though, that's the thing. You're somewhere on the A list, the A+, A, or A- list. And this is, by the way, this is coming from an F-lister. So that's where these rankings are. But I have met some of these people. Cindy's late again. Oh, well. Who was in Clueless? Jesse Plemons was not in Clueless. I don't know who you're talking about at random. Speaking of at random, let's cover a little bit of the news today. We don't have to. If you guys just want to keep telling us which actors are A-listers, B-listers, Give me an actor's name and we'll decide amongst ourselves. And you guys can also vote on where they place A+, A minus, B+, B. Paul Rudd. Oh, Paul Rudd? Oh, yeah, he was in Clueless. Paul Rudd's been in a bunch of the Kevin Smith Independence. Paul Rudd was in a movie by Michael Showalter called The Baxter. It is not available anywhere. I have it on DVD somewhere, and maybe someday we'll share it together. But Michael Showalter, if you're watching, or a friend of Michael Showalter, if you're watching, how can we watch The Baxter? I want to share The Baxter with friends because Paul Rudd's in it, Michael Showalter's in it. It's a fantastic movie. Silas Lindenstein, I'm going to say a B+ lister. Robert Downey Jr., A+. Everybody knows Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Fauci. Let's take a look. It's funny that Dr. Fauci, who has an aversion to the spotlight, really, doesn't seem to enjoy being in it, happens to be part of his job, which he does seem to love. But the right wing, the motivation that the right wing sees for Dr. Fauci apparently lying and killing Americans is that he wants to be a big celebrity. Daddy Shark, do, Daddy Shark. Hi, Joshua. Here we go.
Dr. Fauci, as you...
This is Senator Rand Paul speaking. Dr. Rand Paul is also a senator from the great state of, well, okay, honestly, it's not a great state. They all can't be great states. And Kentucky, I'm sorry. Your 2 senators disqualify you right there and then from being a great state. You're a mediocre, you're fair to Midland at best at this point. Now, Kentucky, I've visited you. I enjoyed you, Kentucky. But your airport is a mess. The fact that they give you a souvenir bat at the Louisville Bat Factory is an A+. The fact that then you can't take it through security at the airport because they consider it a weapon is an F-, Kentucky. Now, in Kentucky's defense, that's federal. Okay, that's the TSA. But your senators, I'm sorry. Kentucky, you're now a C+ state. You got the bourbon. Kentucky, you're a B- state. Yes, fair to Midland, because look where Kentucky is at random. I'm glad that at random noticed that. I don't know. I don't remember if that's one of her pet peeves or not. I know, Tracy. Here we go.
You are aware it is a crime to lie to Congress. Section 1001 of the U.S. Criminal Code creates a felony and a 5-year penalty for lying to Congress. On your last trip to our committee...
It starts with the code. Okay. Let's see where we're going here.
On May 11th,
yeah.
You stated that the NIH has not ever and does not now fund gain-of-function research in the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
Okay, so this is going to be about semantics. The NIH defines gain-of-function. Somebody else might think gain-of-function is something else. The NIH, National Institute of Health, they get to decide what their definition means because it's their definition. But the right wing is like saying, oh, any changes to virus is a gain of function. No, the whole point of the NIH research in China and or elsewhere is to find out what would happen if certain viruses became infectious to humans, not to actually add a gain to them, not to make them more virulent, but just to see what would happen and how we could combat them, because that's what happens in nature. And there's a ton of viruses out there, we're talking hundreds of thousands, that exist that could infect humans, but that haven't crossed over yet, zoologically, zoonotic, zoolander. It's all very sciencey. SARS, the original SARS, avian bird flu, swine flu, etc. These are all diseases that have crossed over from animal species into humans. We need to know these things, how to deal with them in advance, and that's why the research happened. This is not gain of function. Let's find out. Hey, Kimchi.
Virology. And yet, gain-of-function research was done entirely in the Wuhan Institute by...
Okay, but not funded by the NIH. Hold on. Let me get on Dr. Fauci. I want to, you guys have to see more of this. My screen is very small for some reason on here. Hold on. I'll fix it. Stay with me. Okay, show me. No, what are you doing? Urgh. Okay, I don't know what's going on. Is that behind? What is happening? There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Give me a second here, folks. I can give you more Fauci. And there's nothing better in life than more Fauci. Okay. All right, let's make him smaller here. I got to do this here. There we go. Then I got to make this smaller. Okay, now I can take that in. And now you can see the Fauci. Let me make him like that. Okay, now you guys should be able to see what I see. Ben Stiller, A+. Everybody knows Ben Stiller. Okay, here we go. I do need a better laptop. This is not a laptop. This is the studio computer, which I take down and put back together again several times a day. Here we go.
Dr. Shi, and was funded by the NIH. I'd like to ask unanimous consent to insert into the record.
That is a misunderstanding of how things work. The Chinese have done gain-of-function research. The Americans have done gain-of-function research. It was paused under President Obama, and then Trump allowed it back in 2017. Now, the Chinese have done some gain-of-function research. There is a paper out there which thanks many of the organizations which have contributed to the work of the Wuhan lab. Here's the thing that nobody ever talks about. There are 2 different labs in Wuhan. And it has created massive confusion because some people got sick at one lab, but at that lab, they don't do the gain of function. And at the lab where they do the gain of function, the people there say, we have no recollection of anyone being sick at all and going to the hospital with respiratory illnesses. And the hospital's like, we don't know anything about this. Now, it's China. So you don't say stuff like that. We don't know. But the problem is, I don't know if Dr. Rand Paul, the ophthalmologist who had to leave the National Ophthalmology Association and form his own association to certify himself, he is self-certified as a doctor. This is true. You can look that up. I don't know that he's aware there's 2 different labs. Anyway, in the paper that mentions gain of function, the Chinese thank everybody, from the United Nations to the NIH to anyone who's contributed any money through the eons of contribution to a particular project that may be an auxiliary to the product. So if you contribute money, for example, if the NIH contributes money to the Chinese so that they can collect bat samples, not samples of bats, but diseases within the bats, so that we are aware through project, what is it called? Project Warning Sign or something like that. I know this. It'll come to me. Somebody in the audience is going to know this. The U.S., until Trump stopped it, has been doing a ton of research on viruses that may attack us in the future, viruses like the COVID virus, and they need to be collected. And so the NIH has paid China in order to do that through a grant. That's one of the things that China receives money for. Now, when they do a study, it's like when you graduate from college and you're like, I just want to thank all the teachers. I want to thank mom and dad. It's like when you do any study paper, you thank everybody who's given you any kind of grant whatsoever. That grant money was not for gain of function research. But here we go. What's it called? Anybody? Does anybody know what I'm talking about? It's Project Future, Project Warning, Project something. The U.S. had a project of collecting bat samples and animal samples, and it's called something. Project Warning? Anybody? Somebody's got to know this.
The Wuhan virus.
Tom Hiddleston, he is a, wow. Well, first off, the name is no, but to the superhero fans, yes, he's an A+ lister, but in general, I would call him an A-lister. Tom Hiddleston is an A-lister. We'll see what Loki does for him on Apple TV or Disney or whatever it's on. It's got to be on Disney. I watched the first episode. Really good. So if anybody wants to do a binge watch of Loki, let me know.
Virology paper entitled Discovery of a Rich Gene Pool of Bat SARS-Related Coronaviruses. Please deliver a copy of the journal article to Dr. Fauci. In this paper, Dr. Shi credits the NIH and lists the actual number of the grant that she was given by the NIH. In this paper, she took 2 bat coronavirus genes, spike genes, and combined them with a SARS-related backbone.
Benedict Cumberbatch has vaulted to the A+ list
To create new viruses that are not found in nature. These lab-created viruses were then shown to replicate in humans. These experiments combine genetic information from different coronaviruses that infect animals but not humans to create novel artificial viruses able to infect human cells. Viruses that in nature only infect animals were manipulated in the Wuhan lab to gain the function of infecting humans. This research fits the definition of the research that the NIH said was subject to the pause in 2014 to 2017, a pause.
Sam Rockwell? Oh, boy. He is, if there was an A+-, that's where Sam Rockwell will be sitting. Colin Hanks, A-lister. Yeah. Tom Hanks, A+ lister.
In funding on gain of function. But the NIH failed to recognize this, defines it away.
Grover, A+.
And it never came under any scrutiny. Dr. Richard E. Bright, a molecular biologist from Rutgers, described this research in Wuhan as the Wuhan lab used NIH funding to construct novel chimeric SARS-related coronaviruses able to infect human cells and laboratory animals. This is high-risk research that creates new potential pandemic pathogens that exist only in the lab, not in nature. This research matches, these are Dr. E. Bright's words, this research matches, indeed epitomizes, the definition of gain-of-function research, done entirely in Wuhan.
Daniel Levy is an A-.
For which there was supposed to be a federal pause. Dr. Fauci.
By the way, Daniel Levy, not only a fantastic actor and writer and apparently director, I believe now, Daniel Levy also, son of a great actor from SCTV, Eugene, who's been in every movie, I think. I think that's the law. It was in Canada for a while. He had to be in every movie in Canada. I think that same law came into play when he got his first green card. I think that was probably the holdup in terms of his getting his U.S. citizenship, if he ever got that. Because the U.S. was refused for a while to put him in every movie. Because they're like, well, we've already got ourselves a... Now I can't remember his name. I had a punchline. Wow, I'm getting so old. In England, it's the law that Michael Caine has to be in every movie. In Canada, Eugene Levy had to be in every movie after John Candy passed away, sadly. And then in the United States, I can't remember his name. You'd know who I was talking about, though. Yeah, Lorne Green is where green cards come from. Lorne Green is Canadian. And he issues the green cards to Canadians to allow them to come across the borders. That's why so many Canadians have been on SNL.
Knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain-of-function research in Wuhan?
Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress.
Microphone.
Your microphone.
Senator Paul, I have never lied before.
His microphone wasn't on. Yeah, so the project was run by a U.S. nonprofit called EcoHealth Alliance. It was like Project Outlook or something like that. EcoHealth Alliance. Yes. But there's a name for it. I'm looking through this article that Marcy sent in. Project. It's mentioned 23 times in the article. What is the project called? Okay, they're not telling me the name of the art, but there is called, it's called like Project Warning Sign or something like that. Project Pandemic. It's not Project Pan. That's a little too on the nose, and sharks hate things that are on the nose.
For the Congress, and I do not retract that statement. This paper.
Oh, Gene Hackman is A+. Bill Murray, A+. Ricky Gervais, wow. In England, A+. Here in the States, A.
That you were referring to was judged by
Oh, he brought paper using the Kayleigh McEnany defense. Yeah, that is the paper, and it has been judged by experts at the NIH not to be gain of function. What the NIH contributed to the research was not gain of function. It was collection. Okay, here we go. Oh, so Daniel Levy, he is one of the best GIF makers. When you're looking for a funny GIF, Daniel Levy pops up all the time, and they're always hilarious.
qualified staff up and down the chain.
Oh, okay. So Gene Hackman has to be in every movie? Yes. It used to be that way. When Gene got a little bit older, then they said that the guy with the machete, he's got restaurants in LA. He was like a former gang banger. Might have been to prison at some point. Oh, he's a great guy too. He's on cooking shows all the time. He's got his own taco place. What's his name, people?
As not.
We should just call this show Guessing Names with Kevin Lee Shark. That's really what this breaks down to. And then we kind of fill time by showing political things. Come on, what's his name?
Being gain of function. Let me finish.
Danny Trejo! So let me just go back. For those of you just joining us, we were talking about Daniel Levy. His father, Eugene Levy, took a while to immigrate to the States because in Canada, there was a law that that Eugene Levy had to be in every movie, and that was already taken here by Danny Trejo. Moving on.
An animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans,
Right.
You're saying that's not gain of function?
Yeah, that is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially. You do not know what you are talking about. Okay, you get one person.
Let's read from the NIH
Chair, can I
definition of
answer the
gain of
question?
function. This is your definition that you guys wrote. It says that scientific research that increases the
Could your print be any larger on that, Rand Paul? I can read that backwards.
transmissibility among mammals.
Yeah, let me see. Yeah, you guys are delayed on YouTube. I wonder if I can change this midstream. Let me just try something for you guys because you are. I was gonna hold up my hand and count how many seconds you're behind, but that would be completely useless, seeing as how I don't have a hand right now. Let me see if I can go into YouTube Studio, and there might be a glitch when I do this. If I can, I don't know if I'm capable of doing this. Still demonetized, by the way, on YouTube. Here we go. Let me go live here. Let me see if I can edit it. Let's see. Let me go to details, and I don't think I can edit it. That's too bad. Yeah, there's got to be a way I can edit it. I can edit the title. Let me click on it and see if there's any way I can edit how. Nope, you guys are stuck being a few seconds behind. Sorry. And that's what happened is that the software that I use to broadcast to multiple platforms, Restream, they changed their format, and now I can't update. Like YouTube can't be low latency. Or ultra low latency. It's just low latency. So I don't know how many seconds you guys are behind me, but we'll make it work. Let's go back to Senator Rand Paul, Dr. Senator Rand Paul.
Is gain of function. They took animal viruses that only occur in animals and they increased their transmissibility to humans. How you can say that is not gain of function?
It is
Did
not.
he say
It's
manimal?
a dance, and you're dancing around this because you're trying.
what you are talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, you
The
get one
NIH
person.
Let's read from the
Madam
NIH
Chair, can I
definition of
answer the
gain of
question?
function. This is your definition that you guys wrote. It says that scientific research that increases the transmissibility among mammals is gain of
Among mammals. Oh, big fan of the show, by the way.
function. They took animal viruses that
Yeah.
only occur in animals, and they increased their transmissibility to humans. How you can say that is not gain of function?
It is not.
It's a dance, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world
Okay.
from a pandemic.
And let's let Dr. Fauci.
I have to, well, now you're getting into something. If the point that you are
So I haven't watched this. I've seen tiny clips of it, something about lying or whatever. But at some point, apparently Dr. Fauci's hands start shaking quite a bit. And what I've seen people on the right wing saying, oh, that's because he's lying. When you start lying, your hands really start shaking. Okay.
making is that the grant that was funded as a sub-award from EcoHealth to Wuhan,
I'm not seeing his hands really shaking here, so maybe it comes later. I don't know, and maybe he's got tremors. Like maybe he has a medical condition. I have no idea.
created SARS-CoV-2. That's where you are getting. Let me finish.
We don't know.
Well,
we don't
wait
know
a
if
minute.
It did
I
come
can-
from the lab, but all
You-
the evidence is pointing that it came from the lab,
You-
and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
I totally
This committee
resent,
will allow the witness to
I
respond.
totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator, because if you look at the viruses that were used in the experiments, that were given in the annual reports, that were published in the literature, it is molecularly impossible.
No one's saying those
It-
viruses
it is-
caused it.
it
No
is
one is alleging that
molecularly-
those viruses caused the pandemic. What we're alleging is that gain-of-function research was going on in that lab, and NIH funded it.
That
You
is
can't
not-
get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
I'm not
Paul,
obfuscating the truth.
Senator
You are the
Paul's
one.
time is expired, but I will allow the witness to.
I let it play all the way through. I got the full effect there. Here's the problem. Rand Paul is saying no one is saying that you caused the virus, but then 30 seconds before that, he's saying you're trying to escape from the responsibility of causing the virus that killed 4 million people. So that nobody is Rand Paul. Ergo, Rand Paul is nobody. Correct. Ding. Thank you, judges.
Let me just finish. I want to.
Let's go
This
back.
committee
Resent.
will allow the witness to
I
respond.
totally resent the lie that you are now propagating, Senator, because if you look at the viruses that were used in the experiments, that were given in the annual reports, that were published in the literature, it is molecularly impossible.
No one's saying those
It-
viruses
it is-
caused it.
it
No
is
one is
molecular.
alleging
No one is saying those viruses caused it.
research that increases the transmissibility among mammals is gain of function, and you're dancing around this because you're trying to obscure responsibility for 4 million people dying around the world
Okay.
from a pandemic.
And let's let.
So no one is saying that you created the virus that caused the pandemic, but you're trying to dance around responsibility for causing the pandemic. But nobody's saying. Well, yeah, at random, you're a filthy liar.
Experiments that were given in the annual reports, that were published in the literature, it is molecular.
Okay, let's
Obfuscating
jump
the
ahead.
truth.
I'm not up.
It was
Here we
going
go.
on in that lab, and NIH funded it.
That
You
is
can't
not-
get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
I'm not obfuscating the truth.
Senator
You are the
Paul's time
one.
is
What did he say?
expired, but I.
Are obfuscating the funded it.
That
You
is
can't
not-
get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
Obfuscating? Obfuscating.
That is
Can't
not.
get away from it. It meets your definition, and you are obfuscating the truth.
Obfuscating the truth about the manimals?
I'm not obfuscating the truth.
Senator
You are the
Paul's time
one.
is expired, but I will allow the witness to.
Let me just finish.
He didn't accuse you. Nobody is saying that you're obfuscating the truth. No one is saying that. They're saying that you obfuscated the truth. Pay attention to what's being said, Dr. Fauci.
I want everyone to understand that if you look at those viruses, and that's judged by qualified virologists and evolutionary biologists, those viruses are molecularly impossible
No one's
to
saying
result
they are. No
in
one's saying those viruses
SARS-CoV-2.
caused the pandemic.
By the way, Senator Rand Paul has to shut up at this point. His time is up. The interview, but that's lovely. He's pretty.
Paul,
We're saying they are gain-of-function viruses because they were
They're not.
animal viruses that became more transmissible in human, and you funded it.
And
Won't
you
admit the truth.
and you
Senator
implying
Paul, your time has expired, and I will allow witnesses who come before this committee to respond. Dr.
and you are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individual. I totally
And
resent
it could
that.
have.
He's not implying it. He's just outright saying it.
And if anybody
could
is
have been.
lying here,
And it could have. Nobody is saying it, but it could have.
Senator, it is you.
Senator Smith.
I didn't notice the handshaking at all there, but okay. All right, so that was Dr. Fauci. Let's go back and see there's some other stuff here that C-SPAN is highlighting on the... this is from today. It's 8 hours ago.
Last month we passed.
Dr. Pelosi, Housekeeper Pelosi, talking about... so here's what's going on here. Is there was a special committee... they said, hey, we should have a special committee to investigate what happened on January 6th when Trump said, I need you to go peacefully down to the Capitol and storm it. So we said, let's have a special committee. And Kevin McCarthy, who wants to be housekeeper, he said, okay, no, we're not going to do that unless you meet all of my demands and give us veto power over subpoenas, even though we're the minority, give us all of these things, and unless you acquiesce, we will not say yes. And so they did. They said, okay, fine, here, you can have all these things. You can have veto power over subpoenas. Let's do it. Let's get this. Let's investigate this. Let's find out how and why our democracy was attacked, because we are America. And then the Republicans voted it down. So now we're having ourselves a select committee. And Nancy Pelosi said we're going to have this many Democrats. We're going to have a minority of Republicans. And we're going to have Republicans even amongst the Democrats. Meanwhile, you get to suggest 5 people to put on. So Kevin McCarthy suggests 5 people. And Nancy Pelosi says, no, 2 of those are not going to do. One of them is Jim Jordan. And he's just an idiot. Plus, he's going to be called as a witness. And you can't sit on the board and be a part of the witnesses as well. So no on him. And the other guy is Jim Banks. And he blames the whole thing on the Biden administration, which wasn't in power at the time. And basically will treat the whole thing like a joke and turn it into a pony show because he is probably such an idiot that he doesn't even like dogs. Now, if it was a dog and pony show, I'd watch it. But without the ponies, honestly, like watching the ponies go around in circles, there's not much a pony can do. But dogs can do a lot of stuff. Here we go. Keep going what? The next person gave him more time? Oh, well, that was the end of the clip. I'm just watching the clips that C-SPAN put on YouTube. We can go find that. If you guys want to go find the actual C-SPAN feed, this is just what C-SPAN has put on YouTube. And the reason I'm watching those is because they're just highlights that the C-SPAN folks thought should be highlights. And so I was showing that. The thing gets okay, we'll go find that. Marcy says that go back to Fauci. Okay. So that was the end of the Fauci clip that was already there. But hold on. We will go to the actual C-SPAN. This is from what, 2 days ago maybe? Come on. Fauci. Testify COVID response. This is it. Let's see if we can find it in here by doing Rand Paul. Here we go. And the text is not working. The search function on C-SPAN for text is not working. So what about animal? We'll search for animal by Rand Paul. Nope, doesn't exist. So we'll do this manually.
Good morning. Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pension.
I really thought that somebody would
Look
have made a
at
clip of that already.
The
process. Your
Hold on.
Nobody wants studying. These are the things that stopped her from. We have
Won't go through it all.
Wait, what?
400.
it's been seen.
Was he holding clown wig? I've lost it now.
I
but
need to know
And we're told
your question. What are we doing?
medical product
Department.
One is
Information on tech platforms can stop the
supplies. Doses and need the public
together.
and we have shown.
I just want to compete with hundreds of billions of dollars.
Sorry, guys. I'm going through looking for Rand Paul.
Need for boost.
To a long for manufacturing standard med earliest days
Protection and
coverage and a more
Administration.
Teen response.
where it's still well in the 90%.
And still are.
Was it who's the
COVID data among health
Senator Murray?
departments,
Okay, yeah, this is
labs,
the right
and
thing.
Two potential
Here we go.
pandemic will be responsible,
I totally.
and you are obfuscating the truth.
I'm not pattern that Senator Paul has been doing now.
Expired, and I will allow witnesses who come before this committee to
Here we go.
respond. Dr.
And you are implying that what we did was responsible for the deaths of individual. I totally resent
could
that.
have
And
been.
if anybody
could
is
have been.
lying here, Senator, it is you.
Senator Smith.
Thank you, Dr. Fauci. And thanks to all.
Why do I only listen to Marcy? Because I respect Maurice. And if Maurice tells Marcy to say something, I'll listen.
All of our panelists for being here today, and thank you, Chair Murray and Ranking Member
This is
Burr.
Tina Smith.
I just want to say, Dr. Fauci, is there anything more that you would like to say to counteract these attacks on your integrity that we've all just witnessed?
Well, Senator, thank you. I don't think I have anything further to say. This is a pattern that Senator Paul has been doing now at multiple hearings based on no reality. He keeps talking about gain of function. This has been evaluated multiple times by qualified people to not fall under the gain of function definition. I have not lied before Congress. I have never lied, certainly not before Congress. Case closed.
Thank you. So we are 16 months into this pandemic, and I think we're at a
Is that it? Marcy and at random? Is that what we went and found this for?
critical moment. 2/3 of adults have received at least one dose
See, this is why I didn't go to
of the
C-SPAN, because it
vaccine,
pauses
and
all
at
the
the
time.
same time, we are seeing cases rising to about 41,000 a day. As Dr. Walensky has said, we have an epidemic here of the unvaccinated. But of course, this continues to affect every single one of us. So it seems to me that our actions and messages in this moment are going to make a huge difference in whether we move forward or backwards, not only here in the United States, but everywhere in the world. You know, today, as I was walking into this committee hearing.
All right. Tina Smith is boring me. Let's go to Pelosi. So here's Pelosi's comments on the kicking the two Republicans off of the committee, and Kevin McCarthy says, fine, I'm taking all the Republicans that I chose off the committee. All right.
Last month, we passed our legislation for a select committee. The select committee is bipartisan, and it has a quorum, and it will do the job it sets out to do. And that is to investigate the causes and that of what happened on January 6th, to find out how it was organized, who paid for it, who messaged to get those people here for the assault on the Capitol. As you know, well over 100 people were injured, some died. It was a horrible, horrible thing. I'll never forget the trauma it caused, not only for our members, but for our staff and for the people who work in the Capitol to make our work here possible. Some of you were here that day as well, so you can attest to the fact that it was not all love, hugs, and kisses, as it has been characterized, mischaracterized, shall we say.
By President Trump. President Trump just did an interview with Rucker, right? Yeah, Washington Post, etc. Philip Rucker, is that right? Okay. Anyway, just did like a 2.5-hour interview. So that'll be coming out. It's coming out in bits and pieces right now.
So, as you know, we named our commission, and it was committee, and it's bipartisan, again, and we have a quorum. Staff is being hired to do the job. We're there.
So with or without the Republicans that Kevin McCarthy nominates, the committee's good to go. It has a quorum, which is just a majority of people that could be on the committee are there. So if they want to vote on anything, they have a quorum. You need a majority to do that, but it's just a simple majority. You don't need a 2/3 majority or anything stupid like that. So with or without Kevin McCarthy's picks, fine.
To seek
And there is at least one Republican on it, Liz Cheney.
the truth. We're there to get the truth, not to get Trump. TRU, truth. Trump. That seems.
She's so bad. She's so bad at things like that. Yeah. Uh-huh. TRU, truth. TRU, Trump.
Seems to be what the other side is obsessed with.
And I need you to Pokemon go to the polls and vote.
The legislation allows, I did not accept 2 of the 5 people were appointed. They have made statements and taken actions that I think would impact the integrity of the commission, of the committee, the work of the committee. This is deadly.
Oh, hey, did I tell you guys who came and looked at this house today, where TBD Studios is, and they're trying to sell it? Danny Trejo.
Serious. This is about our Constitution. It's about our country. It's about assault on the Capitol that is being mischaracterized for some reason at the expense of finding the truth for the American people. I'm very pleased the response that we have received across the country and from my caucus on this subject, and I'm very pleased with the leadership of Benny Thompson, our chairman, the bipartisan nature of our committee with Liz Cheney, the other members on the committee who have experience and patriotism as their calling cards. So we will proceed, and as I said, the committee is in the process of hiring staff to that end. It is my responsibility as Speaker of the House to make sure we get to the truth on this, and we will not let their antics stand in the way of that.
All right, let's go watch some of those
Last
antics.
month we passed
so I think McCarthy was on here. So here's House the GOP leader Kevin McCarthy on the committee accusing Pelosi of creating a sham process. Let's check that out. What?
Thank you for coming on.
He just growl into the microphone? Is he about to have sex with the podium?
Thank you for coming on short notice.
What? Was that him? Okay.
Thank you for coming on short notice.
Sure.
Speaker Pelosi has taken the unprecedented step of denying the minority party's picks for the Select Committee on January 6th.
We've never had a committee on January 6th before, but okay.
This represents something that has not happened in the House before for a Select Committee by the historian. It's an egregious abuse of power.
We've hardly had any select committees, but this is the way that select committee was drawn up, and the majority gets to decide what the rules are. If you wanted to be able to do that, you should have won the election, and then you could now be housekeeper.
Pelosi has broken this institution.
Ha! She's broken the whole institution. Oh, the vapors.
Denying the voice of members who have served in the military, Jim Banks, a Navy veteran
Who said that 1-6 was all Biden's fault because he was president?
served in Afghanistan,
Uh-huh.
serves on HASC, chair of the largest caucus, the Republican Conference,
He's got a large caucus.
and law enforcement, as well as a
Lobsporbs. Well, if he's done Lobsporbs,
the Republican Conference, and law enforcement, as well as a leader of a standing committee. Jim Jordan isn't ranking of just his first committee, he's done it before. Jim Jordan has served on select committee and serves on one now.
by the way, Kevin McCarthy gets away with using some other language all the time. Constantly. He puts together words that make no sense whatsoever in English, and for some reason just gets away with it. I think he's just one of those, like Woody from Cheers, where you just assume he's a little bit stupid, and so he gets away. Hi, LP, we're not all lovers. Thank you. Weird. He gets away with putting together verbiage that would otherwise be considered garbage.
Made it undeniable this panel has lost all legitimacy and credibility. And it shows exactly
I hereby deny that.
what I warned
back
at the beginning of January.
Uh-huh.
That Pelosi would play politics with this. For more,
You also said that Trump was responsible for 1-6 back at the beginning of January. Do you remember that?
more than 6 months.
Hi, Ann.
You have a better example of the Senate. Bipartisan. Schumer didn't pick who went on of the Republicans.
What? See? Do you see what I'm saying?
Bipartisan.
Yeah.
Schumer didn't pick who went on of the Republicans. They already have the report done by 2 different committees.
Like we know what he's trying to say, but he doesn't say it. But we just all move on as a nation.
2 main questions.
Yeah.
Why?
That's one. First off, you held up a 1. Secondly, I bet that you're about to ask more than 2 questions. Okay? I can't hold any fingers up right now. Wait. Okay? You held up 1 finger. You're going to ask more than 2 questions right now. I'm willing to lay money down. Let's go back. Watch the 1 finger.
2 main questions.
It's 1 finger, but okay.
Why was the Capitol so ill prepared for that day when
That's 1 question.
they knew on December 14th they had a problem? And what have we done to make sure that never happens again?
That's 2 questions. But you still held up the same finger.
Pelosi has created a sham process.
Oh, it was only 2 questions. I was wrong. I swim corrected. It was just the 2 questions. All right. I totally forgot what the questions were too. Oh yeah, how come they didn't know? Why? Here's what Kevin McCarthy just said. Nancy Pelosi says, we need to get to the bottom of the rape. And Kevin McCarthy is saying 2 questions. 1, why was she wearing what she was wearing? And 2, why did she, knowing that she was wearing something that was asking to be raped, why did she leave the house? That's what's going on right there.
Unless Speaker Pelosi reverses course and seats all 5 Republicans, we will not participate.
Okay.
But we think it's too important that those 2 questions, why were we ill prepared? Why did they know on December 14th? Why would they jeopardize the lives of the Capitol Police?
That's 3 questions! I was right! I was right! Did you see what happened there? For a second, I thought I was wrong. Kevin made me right. Thank you, Kevin. Us Kevin stick together. That was 3 questions.
We will run our own investigation. We have law enforcement, we have military, we have doctors, we have people from all walks of life. They want to know the answer. The American people deserve that. They don't deserve politics. They don't deserve destroying the institution. No committee in Congress will work if one person is picking all who can serve. This has not happened before.
It's fine. As long as they're members of Congress, then sure, why not? And he's getting approval for that. Approval, not picking everyone, getting approval. Hi, Wendy. I'm just excited that I was right about the 3 questions. You know, I try and be modest, but I really shouldn't be. I'm too humble. That's what it is. I'm too humble when it comes down to it.
House Democrats must answer this question.
Oh, yeah. Is it just one question? Hold up your fingers. Hold up your whole hand so that we can see how many questions this is going to be. And then I can be right again.
Why are you allowing a...
It's not even hard to predict what Kevin McCarthy's going to do. Wow, that's pretty. Here we go.
A lame duck speaker to destroy this institution.
What? Now she's a lame duck speaker? Now she's a lame duck speaker. Hold on. Someone's home now, and now I have to shut the doors because apparently they're on the phone and they don't realize that I'm broadcasting from the TBD studios. One moment, please.
This is the people's house, not Pelosi's house. We will do our job, though. We asked to do our job. We want to do our job. I may object to the people that she put on the committee, but I respect her right to do it, just as every leader has done before. To destroy an institution for
What did I miss? Did he say manimal?
your own political gain. America expects...
The speaker is is always a lame duck speaker, because the Speaker of the House, or as Kevin McCarthy says, housekeeper, is constantly in danger of being unelected, replaced at any given time. That's how it works. The Speaker of the House doesn't even have to be a member of Congress. It's just whoever the majority of the people in the House decide we would like this person to be our Speaker. That's how it works. And every 2 years, you have another election in the House where all the House members are then either reelected or kicked out. Or some of them retire, et cetera, et cetera. Lame duck speaker, I have never heard anyone say that before. And it's just plain stupidity. But it's from Kevin McCarthy, so it's expected.
more and deserves more. With that, I want to bring up Congressman Jim Banks, individual who served his country in Afghanistan, served in a state legislature, serves in Congress.
Don't forget about the law enforcement, but...
Is chair of the largest caucus in the Republican conference.
Yeah, caucus.
Jim Banks.
Thank you.
Wow. What an announcement there. A man who needs no introduction. What else they got here? Liz Cheney. Should we? Nah, let's not listen to Liz Cheney. Let's go back to the C-SPAN and see if they have Jim Jordan talking there. That's Fauci's. Let's go to C-SPAN. Let's go to most popular. Holds a news conference on the legislative agenda. Is that from today? Oh, there's the team briefing from COVID. That's always interesting. Hold on. It'll be under most watched. The daily briefing. People are big fans of the daily briefing. Remember when we were the only ones on the whole planet that watched it? It's a regular viewing thing now. People love the Jen Psaki. Cannot get enough Psaki. House Speaker Pelosi. View all, most watch. Let's find. Oh my God. Marjorie Taylor Greene had a news conference? Oh, I think, was this the one where she laughed at children dying? Okay, super popular, super idiot, super popular. Here it is. This is most watched over the last few days. This actual, let's find Jimmy Jordan
Leader
here.
McCarthy announced this afternoon
To destroy this
committee and the
Okay, let's listen to Jim Banks. See what kind of bullet we dodged.
Jim Banks.
I'm going to rewind it just a bit.
I want to bring up Congressman Jim.
And I'm going to find myself, I got to run to the freezer and find something for me to bite into. Hopefully some ice cream. I'll be right back.
Banks. Individual who served his country in Afghanistan, served in a state legislature, serves in Congress, is chair of the largest caucus in the Republican Conference. Jim Banks.
Thank you. I thank the leader first and foremost for his trust that he placed in me as a leader of our party to put me in charge of this Republican effort. This just goes to show how partisan of an exercise we said this was all along. That Nancy Pelosi would take me and Jim Jordan first off of this committee and the rest of us as well by rejecting the first two of us. She knows that we were prepared to fight to get to the truth, to find the facts about what happened on that day to make sure that January 6th would never happen again. But she doesn't want to go down that path. She knows that we're already asking questions in just the first couple of days that Leader McCarthy appointed us to this task, questions that Democrats have never asked about why the Capitol was vulnerable on that day.
With C-SPAN, so it just pauses.
For weeks leading up to January 6th that told us that something dangerous would happen on January 6th. She knew we would fight back against
Jim Jordan just coughs directly into his hand during the pandemic.
Their political games, and that's why she didn't want us to participate in this committee. It just goes to show this is entirely a political exercise on her part. It's a shame. The American people deserve better. They demand answers about January 6th because the American people demand that their leaders step up to make sure that it never happens again. But we all know that this is an
Yeah, he just said that.
Exercise in politics. It's not an exercise in finding the facts, and that's what's unfortunate.
C-SPAN pauses again.
About the speaker's move.
Not me.
It just goes to show.
Sometimes I pause it. I just pause it right there because I wanted to say something. But when there's just a gap and nothing intelligent is said, that's when I pause it.
So it begs the question that all of us should be asking, what is the speaker afraid of? I'll leave you with that. Jim Jordan.
Thank you, Jim. The leader and Jim are exactly right. This has always been about politics.
Well, she's not afraid of Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan can't be on the committee. Jim Jordan is a witness. I mean, theoretically, all of them are witnesses. They were all there that day. But Jim Jordan met with President Trump and discussed plans for January 6th with President Trump and has communicated with him regularly since. He's a witness.
And today's actions of the speaker just confirm that. But frankly, and I've said this before, what else are they going to talk about? I mean, they're so focused on the January 6th committee. What else are they going to talk? Are they going to talk about crime? The fact that crime is up in every major urban area in this country?
It is not. Murder and guns. Murder with guns. Homicides. That's what's up in the United States this year. Regular crime, not really up appreciably across the nation.
They're gonna talk about the border crisis? I mean, think about this. March was the highest month on record for illegal crossings.
It wasn't. It just wasn't. That is completely incorrect. It was not the highest month on record. That is a lie. That would be June of 2000, when over 200,000 illegal boarding crossings were attempted and caught. And before that, because we weren't really catching that many people, could have been higher than that. We have no idea. But the highest recorded? No, that's a lie.
Your urban area in this country?
Look how he looks up in the sky. That's where he looks for his answers. He's looking up and to his left, trying to wait. It is the highest ever record in March for the.
They're gonna talk about the border crisis. I mean, think about this. March was the highest month on record for illegal crossings.
Oh, he's like, the highest. What is March? It's a month. March is a month. Go. All right, C-SPAN's dead. I guess we're done. Come on, go.
Crossings until April. April in this country.
Here we go.
They're gonna talk about the border crisis. I mean, think about this. March was the highest month on record for illegal crossings until April. April was the highest month on record until May. May was the
A lie. 2 lies in a row.
highest month on record until June.
Nope. Also incorrect. Border crossings were higher on record, according to the CBP, which stands for chicken, beef, pork. They were all higher. The records were all set in 2000. And we have not reached those points. Plus, the big difference is now, because of Title 42, which Trump put into place, Biden has not revoked. Anybody without kids, without a family, etc., they're sent right back. We are not taking people into this country right now. It is closed. Children are an exception. Same thing under Trump. Children were always an exception. You try and come across the border, we're just going to carry you right back to Mexico and drop you off. The numbers also right now, according to the CBP, I'm not making this up, according to the CBP, many of these numbers, be they 180,000, etc., many of these numbers, 117 of which, 120 of which, are immediately expelled, just sent right back into Mexico. Many of these are people trying to cross the border multiple times. Because they get picked up, they get caught, and they're like, no, you can't come in. Title 42, you might have COVID. No one is coming into the country right now. Get out. And then they turn around, they try and cross somewhere else, or they get caught again. So many of these times, the numbers are way overinflated. They're not a record, and they're not close to a record. This is just nonsense.
Can't talk about that.
No, can't. Why would Democrats talk about that? It's not a reality.
They're going to talk about inflation. They're going to talk about the fact that the price of eggs is up, the price of milk is up, the price of bread is up, the price of gas is up.
You could literally say that any time in American history except the Depression and Trump's COVID. Prices always go up. That's the way prices work. Now, do we want hyperinflation? No. Is there going to be inflation when you've got suddenly this huge demand because the economy is booming and the supply is limited because we just went through 18 months of not being able to produce things on the record on the level that we want to? And not knowing whether or not there was going to be that demand coming up because we didn't know the vaccines were going to work. That creates some inflation. But actual inflation on certain items is much higher than, which then draws everything up. Lumber's coming back down in price. I was just at Home Depot Lowe's the other day looking at lumber. And I talked to the lumber guy, and he's like, that's about what it always costs. Yeah, it was really expensive for a time for 2x4, stuff like that. Drywall was up for a little while because everybody was trying to build. But no, we've got all our shipments. We got plenty in right now. We're fine.
The price of an airline ticket's up. The price of the price of everything is up.
Yeah, the price of airline tickets is up. Last year at this time, nobody was going anywhere. Idiot.
Can't talk about that. So they're going to be partisan.
Hi, LP.
And they're going to focus on this. But as the leader said, and as Mr. Banks said, I don't think they're going to address the fundamental question.
What?
The fundamental question of why wasn't there a proper security presence at the Capitol that day? They're not going to address that. And only one person can answer that question. Only one.
Why wasn't she carrying mace when she wore that outfit? That's one question.
Speaker of the United States House of Representatives. My hunch is...
Oh, Gil from The Simpsons. That's exactly right. You're right on, Sean. Ding.
My hunch is, the reason I don't want to address that question, my hunch is because what happened all last year? The Democrats normalized anarchy. They normalized rioting and looting, and when rioters and looters attacked our law enforcement personnel, when rioters and looters destroyed small businesses, what did Democrats do? They went out.
I want to show you. I want to pause Jim Jordan right here before I forget, because I wanted to share this with you guys. Hold on. Let's go back. Let's do this. This is a cool thing about what you can do with YouTube TV. It saves everything, unlimited DVR for 9 months. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a search here. And I want to show you some really, really confused Republicans. Let's go to FAUCI Friends. And what we're going to do, because we can, is we're going to go to episodes. And we're going to go way back here. We're going to get to the Wayback Machine. Wait, what? Is it not letting me? Yeah, it is. We're going to go back to the day after the inauguration. So this is January 21st. This is the day after Joe Biden's inauguration. And
coming back.
Let's go to the beginning of the show.
Issuing executive orders to radically change the country.
Okay, so he's radically changing things. Okay. LP says, I asked a question. Oh, I didn't see the question, LP. What's the question? Sorry, I don't read everything in the chat. But let's just jump ahead here. Because there's the inauguration. And, okay, so, by the way, remember when Biden was going to be elected and be president and there was going to be no more suburbs. There were going to be soup cans thrown by Antifa everywhere. This is all related. You'll see what's going on. But this is something the conservatives refuse to accept, which is something that I've been telling everybody, something that Brooke Brunkowski, something that many of the people who pay attention to groups like this, Antifa, or Antifa, if you want to call them that, which is wrong, the anti-fascists, they're just assholes. They're not anti-anything. They're anti-everything. They're anarchists. It's all intermingled. But watch how confusing this is.
The population has been radicalized. It's going to take many years to detox the disinformation that has been spread.
I don't even know what he's talking about now. This is back in January, and without a reference, I don't know what he's saying.
6:01 in the East on this Thursday, January 21st,
Yeah, so 3 o'clock in the morning, January 21st. This is the day, so this looks like Portland here. Yeah, this is Portland, Oregon.
2021. And take a look at this Fox News alert. Protests take a violent turn on the West Coast after Joe Biden sworn in as the 46th president.
So what they blurred out there on those windows, it's F Joe Biden. It's fuck Joe Biden, but I wasn't going to swear. But anyway, that's what it says. Antifa hates Joe Biden too. Antifa hates everybody.
Well, police declaring an unlawful assembly in Portland overnight after rioters damaged an ICE facility. Looks more like looting, doesn't it? Rather than uncalled for assembly.
Earlier in the day, rioters were smashing windows at Oregon's Democratic headquarters. At least.
Yeah, they attacked the DNC headquarters. They're not Democrats.
8 people were arrested.
And it didn't stop there because meanwhile in Denver, protesters burned American flags outside the state capitol building. And in Seattle, protesters damaged an Amazon Go store, courthouse, and the county's first ever Starbucks. So it seems, Stephen Ainsley, good morning to you both.
Good morning to you, Will.
Not everybody thought it was a good day yesterday. Not everybody felt the unity. Apparently, in the West Coast, some people were upset that not enough has been accomplished yet in Joe Biden's presidency.
Well, in fact, in very progressive Portland, Antifa is angry at Joe.
Yeah, hold on. I got to record
the unity. Apparently, in the West Coast, some people were upset that not enough has been accomplished yet in Joe Biden's presidency.
Well, in fact, in very progressive Portland, Antifa is angry at Joe.
Right.
And in fact, some of those images we saw were of the Democratic Party headquarters for Portland and for Oregon. And they just don't like Joe, and they don't like law enforcement. They painted over a Democratic Party sign. One of the quotes in the paper this morning out there in Portland is, "We don't want Biden. We want revenge for police murders, imperialist wars, and fascist massacres." Now notice, they don't say they want justice. They want revenge. Well, that's not exactly how it works, Ainsley.
Well, and Jason Rantz, he's a radio host out in Seattle. He made a good point. He said Democrats are going to have to call out these groups and stop saying that groups like Antifa don't exist. Listen.
Antifa doesn't exist. It's a total myth. They're only involved in peaceful protests, a talking point that to this day is still being used despite ample evidence showing quite the opposite. And the Democrats have a really interesting problem on their hand because they helped create this movement. And they created this environment that essentially said, look, we're not only not going to punish you for your kinds of violence that we saw for 6 months last year, we're actually going to reward it. Because remember, when you look at Portland and Seattle and you look at some of these other areas, they ended up adopting, city governments adopted a lot of the policies that these terrorist groups ended up promoting. The Democrats have to step up and actually call this stuff out. You can't just go after one side of violence.
Yeah. Well, remember, he's talking about the myth comment. Jerry Nadler, when he was interviewed on the streets of Washington, he said, he was asked about Antifa, he said this is a myth. Other Democrats were calling it an idea. But there were 150 Antifa members there in Portland, according to reports. Some of the signs read, abolish ICE, and there were protests for law enforcement and protests for Joe Biden.
And Joe Biden was one of those politicians you just referenced who said Antifa was simply an idea. You know, after January 6th, I remember sitting in the living room of my mother's house, and she was talking about the reverence she had for the national Capitol and what a shame it was to see what happened to the nation's Capitol. And of course, she's right. I would say for many of us, and specifically including me, I have a similar, if not greater, reverence for all the small businesses, all the downtowns, all the...
So later in the broadcast, either today or this day or the day after that or whatever, one of the hosts is saying, like, but I don't get it. Why would they spray paint F Joe Biden? Like, why? Because they're Democrats. And they just couldn't get it. The Fox and Friends just could. They just, yeah. It was amazing that the Democrats would be doing this. No, they're not. If they were Democrats, they would be all happy that Joe Biden was president. That was the whole... Elsewhere, people were celebrating. We had the inauguration, we had some fireworks, we had a good time. Not Antifa. All right, let's go back and watch the end of Jimmy Jordan here. I just want to capture that before I forgot about it because it's coming up on 9 months at some point since January. No way to tell. And I didn't want to lose that, so I wanted to capture that before it went away. And I wanted to share it with you guys. And again, the complete befuddlement of the right wing. Like, but Antifa loves Joe Biden.
Out and raised money to bail him out of jail, and they continue to talk about defunding the police, and in fact did that in all these major urban areas, which is why crime is up. So they don't want to talk about that stuff. They just want to be partisan.
No, in most urban areas, the police have not been defunded. Biden is against defunding the police, always has been, made that known last year, had nothing to do with any of this.
They just want to continue to attack the former president. They want to play their political game. So I applaud Leader McCarthy.
Just want to continue attacking the former president, who, by the way, calling him a former president coming from Jim Jordan, that's a big step, big guy. Good for you.
Saying we're going to do our job. We're going to continue to work and get to the bottom and answer the questions that the leader raised, the questions that, frankly, they...
No, nobody tell producer Joanna what she missed. She could have shown up on time like everybody else. She's going to have to do her homework.
American people want answers to. With that, I recognize that.
He ended on a strong note there. The American people want answers to. Let's watch it again. It's cute. It won't go. Go, C-SPAN.
They want to play their political game. So I applaud Leader McCarthy for saying we're going to do our job. We're going to continue to work and get to the bottom and answer the questions that the leader raised, the questions that, frankly, the American people want answers to. With that, I recognize.
It just completely ran out of conviction there. The American people want answers to. I got a nap right here. They're so exasperated. Listen to this sigh. We'll listen to the sigh and then we'll go back and we'll listen to Kevin McCarthy at the bidding. They're just
people
all exhausted.
Want answers to.
Were they up all night? Like, is this 3 a.m.? What's going on here? That they have zero energy. They're all Jeb Bush. Please clap. The American people want answers to. Please clap. Now listen to the sigh coming up here. He's just upset that he and Jim Jordan wore the same outfit today, and Jim refuses to wear the jacket. So he's like, I don't want to feel like an idiot. You said you were going to wear the jacket too, and we'd be twinsies. Jim Jordan's like, I never wear a jacket. I know you never wear a jacket, but you have to wear the jacket. Well, just take your jacket off and then we'll still be twinsies. No, because I got a mustard stain on at lunch.
Evening of January 6th, when we reconvened to take the certification of the election results from our states, I actually spoke with Speaker Pelosi on the dais, and she brought up a bipartisan, bicameral commission to me at that point in time.
Okay.
I introduced a bill to create a bipartisan, bicameral commission. We had some questions about how this would be implemented, and Speaker Pelosi did.
Okay, I can't take it anymore. Too many pauses. All right, kids. So I just wanted to get out there and broadcast some more. I know that I haven't really been remiss in my duties, but my duties have also involved taking the studio down, putting the studio up, blah, 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 blah. So, and without a laptop that's functioning well, it's difficult to do from a laptop. Plus, I just don't have the monitors to do it. He is wearing a tan suit. I did notice that too, Marcy. I didn't know if anyone would get that reference, so I kept it to myself. But I appreciate you, Marcy. Speaking of laptops, Marcy, producer Marcy, is sending me her old laptop. So I thank you, producer Marcy. And I have been remiss in sending her a label. Because, again, I've had to take the computer down and put the computer up. Anyway, so thanks to everybody for watching today. We will try, well, what is it, tomorrow's Friday? Yes, we're definitely doing a movie tomorrow, as far as I know. I don't think I have to go to an audition or anything like that. Oh, tomorrow I give blood, and then I have to go let somebody in to put up a smoke alarm in Kevin Lee Daughter's apartment. So I'll sometime during the day I'll broadcast. I don't know when. And then we'll have a movie on Friday night. So if you want to join our Friday night movie, shoot me a message on Twitter or something, or on YouTube, and maybe I'll get it if you're not already part of the group. If you really want to be part of the group, become a patron. Go to kevinleefather.com. I'm indicating with my fin right there. Do it. Up there. Anyway, there. There it is, kevinleefather.com, or go to the Cash App. You can send me money on the Cash App if you live in the United States. PayPal, you can send me money that way to help me do these sort of things. And I'm going to need to find a new studio. Maybe I can use Danny Trejo's studio. Kevin-Williams-157 if you want to Venmo me. If you don't have the Cash App and you live in the United States and you'd like to get the Cash App and send me $5, it will give you $5 for free. So you can send me $5 for nothing if you use that code up in the very, very corner there that says, give me $5, get $5 back. Cash.app/app/alumnum-PQRSTUVWX-LGBTQ. So do all of that, and we will see you tomorrow. Guys, just for fun, we're gonna do the closing credits that we haven't done in a long time, and I haven't updated in a long time. And honestly, that I have been remiss on. And don't talk about the t-shirts. Bye.
Kevin, thanks for that.